All right. Good evening, Wyoming. This is your Facebook meteorologist, Sean Bagden here, and we also have.
We also WNEWX Storm Chaser Eric Ogle. I'm the lead forecaster for that page.
All right, perfect. And we are here today to talk to you about a potentially significantly impactful winter weather event that's going to be impacting especially areas of the central basins of Wyoming, as well as into the higher elevations of eastern Wyoming as well. And we can see here on the radar right now, we're starting to get that flux of moisture coming in out in front of our system right now with these scattered showers, convective showers that have started to develop across the area, especially of note in front of the Wind River Range here, as well as just downwind of the Bighorn Mountains as well, and a few light showers heading into the Casper area, as well as Elk Mountain Rollins. But this is going to be the least of our worries as we head into the next couple of days here. We've got a plethora of winter weather headlines that are out for the state of Wyoming. And I will have Eric go over the areas that are most likely to be impacted from this event now.
So, has obviously extended those winter storm watches, and they've also stepped up with the winter storm warnings. We do have some winter storm watches for the Cheyenne and the southeastern area. Basically, what's happening is that we're looking at a cold front that's going to be moving through the area later on tonight into early tomorrow morning. That's going to push southeast. And as it does so, we're going to see some of those rain and snow showers developing over a good area of Wyoming. We may end up having some of those showers and thunderstorms as well, especially during the afternoon hours. And yeah.
All right, that sounds great. And we also, talking about that cold front that Eric was just talking about, we can really see that very well distinguished here on our SPC mesoscale analysis right now, with these tightened areas of pressure right here. You have an area of Canadian high pressure off to the north, which is going to be the flux of cold air that we need to come in aloft to counteract that really high sun angle we have at this point in the spring season here. This is going to help the snow to accumulate quite quickly. And then we have an area of deepening low pressure down to the south of that. And that's going to be helping to pool a lot of Gulf moisture up against that frontal boundary. And that frontal boundary, as it starts to sag to the south, is going to be the focal point for the lift that Gulf of Mexico moisture needs in order to turn into potentially heavy banded precipitation here, especially as that Canadian high starts to sag off to the south, and with it will come the cold air here. Also a thing to note with the rotation around this area of high pressure, as it comes down to the south, we are going to be getting winds coming from the northeast towards the southwest. What this means, and for those that are not too familiar with Wyoming geography here, I'll actually pull up the topographic map here, and we'll show you what we're talking about with what those northeasterly winds are capable of here. Looking at the northeast to the southwest here, we have the Bighorns, which are oriented perfectly in that flow to really enhance that upslope lift, as well as the Wind Rivers. It does look like areas along the Wind Rivers, and that would include Lander. We're also going up to the Dubois area, as well as Riverton. They're going to be some of the most highly impacted areas from this event, most likely, as well as a secondary area here in the Bighorns up towards Buffalo and Sheridan, which could get pretty thoroughly whacked out of this. Also, Casper Mountain, as always, going to be in this one. So let's start off with Eric here, and we're going to break down the models as to how this is going to unfold and what the time frame looks like. Let me get this pulled up here for you. What do you want up, Eric?
You want to look up the HRRR models?
Yeah, I can bring that up for you.
Very cool.
And then we'll have a good look at timing. All right. And just let me know what you want, when you want it, and we'll make it happen.
We got that. So, let me go back to you. So if you, this is the 0Z right now. It's 6 o'clock. So basically, the way to think about it is, UTC is 6 hours ahead of us, and so if you take 6 hours back, it ends up to being 6 o'clock. But if you go, as you go towards the, keep going.
Okay.
Drag it across. There you go. We'll start to see that. You guys can see that cold front that's actually going to start sagging southeast. We'll start to see some snow early tomorrow morning, primarily towards the northwest and towards the Casper area. Probably around 5, 6 o'clock. That's when we're going to start to see that snow really start to impact the Cheyenne, Laramie, the snowy ranges, even into western Nebraska. Could get some rain and snow as that low begins to move through and as the cold front pushes southeasterly. Now, one thing to note is as we get towards our Friday, the secondary low is going to come in off of the Four Corners, and that's going to continue to keep that pool of moisture coming to the north and into our viewing areas as well. You guys can kind of see it kind of moving across. But yeah, so we're gonna see some more snow a little bit later on Friday, throughout the day on Friday actually. And I won't be surprised if the National Weather Service doesn't issue winter storm warnings for Cheyenne and the eastern Wyoming and the western Nebraska Panhandle. Also, one thing to know is that we'll get some more snow towards northern Colorado.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we need right now.
Absolutely. And the thing that was really catching my eye here that I wanted to mention to people is right along the cold front here, just off to the north of Cheyenne. So this would be like the Chugwater area in the I-25 corridor up through Douglas. We have a very tight pressure gradient that is moving from east to west into the snowy ranges, Laramie ranges, those sorts of areas here. And that will likely ramp up the wind. We're probably not talking about blizzard warnings out of this thing because they'll be pretty heavy and wet. But certainly blowing and drifting snow could be a possibility with this feature as the cold front starts to push through in the evening hours on Thursday here. What do you think about that, Eric?
I totally agree with that. I think it's I would say maybe like a snow squall warning, maybe at most. You could get something like that issued, but a blizzard warning I just don't foresee being issued.
Definitely. But the winter storm warnings for winds upwards, gusting upwards of 40 miles an hour, I can definitely see that with the blowing and drifting. For sure.
Yeah, dude. And then going back, we also of eastern Nebraska, even into central Iowa. Go back towards, yeah. I'm gonna on the HRRR model.
Oh, sorry, I'm all frozen up here. Okay, there we go.
So if you want to go to precipitation, or go to simulated radar reflectivity. There you go. this is what we use. This kind of gives us kind of a little bit of an idea of what's going to happen tomorrow. So if you go back to, let's say, 23 hours, a little bit less, there you go. One more back, one more back.
My mouse froze.
Okay, that's fine. So basically what we're looking at is we're looking at some strong to severe thunderstorms near the Omaha, Lincoln area. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah.
We have a sticky mouse. Okay, continue with what you were saying, and I'll get it there, Eric.
So as we get towards like the 5 or 6 o'clock time period, we do expect some strong to severe thunderstorms to develop across eastern Nebraska, and those will continue well into overnight, even into Minnesota as well. Tornado threat's not going to be so much more in Minnesota, but it's going to be more in the Omaha, the Lincoln area, especially as those cells get to be renegades, and as they begin to grow and mature. So that's something to be mindful if you guys live in the Lincoln, Omaha area, and if you know of anybody that lives in Des Moines, Iowa, that's something to be on the lookout for too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one last thing before we move on to the severe weather portion here is we definitely need to talk snowfall totals for Wyoming here,
Yeah.
and road conditions. So I'll have Eric break down southeastern Wyoming there, since that's his specialty, and then we'll go on over, and then I'll do like the more mountainous areas like the Bighorns and the Wind Rivers.
Okay, that's good. So as it sits right now, the heaviest snow totals, looking at the precipitation type, will be towards the Casper, Lusk, even into Laramie, even into the Cheyenne area. But right now, as it sits right now, by hour models, we're looking at probably around anywhere from 3 to 6 inches around Cheyenne. Probably like 4 to 6 towards the Wheatland, Torrington area. As we get to Casper, it's going to be a little bit more, probably about 6 to 8 inches. And the Douglas area is going to be the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as we head up into the more mountainous areas here, so moving up towards the Buffalo Sheridan region here, where you start getting those bridge lines coming off the Bighorns into the I-25 corridor there, certainly looking at potentially the 6 to 10 inch range up there, as cold air is going to be in place at the surface quite a bit quicker than areas further south, so accumulation will be quite a bit more efficient there. But the areas we are most concerned with are going to be just to the east of the Wind River range here. So areas just to the west of Riverton and right up to the South Pass areas where we are most concerned right now. So that would be areas like Lander. We're also talking about areas between there and Dubois as well, which could be receiving anywhere from 12 to 18 inches of snow, especially in the Lander foothills there. Likely going to be seeing yet another late season closure of South Pass as well, as those northwest winds are really going to be screaming upwards of 2 feet, maybe even possibly a bit more could be possible up in the South Pass area there, as there will be very persistent northwest upslope flow, northeast upslope flow actually, coming into the Wind Rivers there. So definitely looking at pretty high impact road conditions. Areas south of there, as you get into the I-80 corridor, certainly looking quite a bit less as you move to the east of Elk Mountain there and Rollins, or to the west of Elk Mountain and Rollins, sorry, as we're going to be having a lot of that rain shadow effect coming in off the Wind Rivers and say the Laramie Range, Elk Mountain, those sorts of areas. And then again, up in northeastern Wyoming, That's a little bit lower elevation there. So we will likely be seeing a little bit of rain mixing in early on, keeping totals a little bit on the lower side, but still 2 to 4 inches is certainly not out of the question for those areas. Anything else you wanted to add on to that, Eric?
No.
All right, that sounds good. So for our Wyoming viewers here, if you have any comments, feel free to leave them below and we'll be sure to answer them. If not, we will be setting up another live stream here in about 10 minutes to talk about the severe weather threat that's going to be on the increase for the next couple of days across the Central Plains. So stay tuned for that if you have any family members in those areas. Have a good night, Wyoming.
Wait. One real
Oh,
thing,
yeah.
real quick thing is that the latest drought monitor still shows portions of eastern Wyoming in the exceptional drought range. And this is so as far as tornado season goes for eastern Wyoming and the western Nebraska Panhandle, I do think that we're going to see average to below average number of tornadoes based off of how the soil moisture is going to be. Now, if we can get a couple more storm systems to roll through and slow down, I do think that that could make a little bit of a dent, but it's not going to be very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with that. And just to back up what he's saying there, I'm going to bring up the drought monitor for y'all right here. And as we can see, that area of exceptional drought is pretty well infiltrating the southeastern Wyoming area, especially across the most favorable areas in Wyoming for tornadoes, just north of Cheyenne up through the Douglas area there, which at this point makes it look like a slightly below average tornado season. But again, as Eric said, if we are able to get a wetter spring in that area, things could definitely change. But we'll make sure to keep you guys updated on that as we start to get closer to severe season for y'all.
So one thing to note is that when we're looking at tornado season, on average, we see more, like for Cheyenne or for the Wyoming area, we see a lot of tornadoes really between Chugwater and Scotts Bluff. And that's due to how the terrain is set up. It's basically like almost like a bowl-shaped terrain. And so that's going to be, if that remains in the exceptional drought, that's gonna help hinder that tornadic activity.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with you there. And then if you want to hear more about severe weather with us, we're going to be doing another live here in the next 10 minutes or so to the severe weather pages for the Central Plains there. And we will see you guys hopefully next fall. That'll be the next time we're talking snow, but we might be back a little bit sooner than that. We'll see. Have a great night, everybody.
You almost had me breaking, man. You almost got me. I was so close.